Hello.
Cuz.
Fuck. Hello and good morning.
Cuz.
Hello. This is the Vernacular Overcast starring me, good boy, also tired boy Hunter, and the Mexican. This is a podcast where we don't know. Rico, would you like to introduce yourself?
We don't know shit.
No, we just don't know.
We know how to shit.
That's
we don't know
100%
shit.
true. All right.
We don't know shit.
So we have. This is mainly going to be about movies because we've been watching movies. I'll
adult, the adult kind, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So recently I have seen the movie Hereditary about a week ago, and I convinced Rico to watch it.
And I did.
And he sure did. And this movie was one of the most interesting movies I've seen in my entire life because it's the only horror movie that's ever sincerely terrified me. And
yeah.
horrified me to my core. I can watch stuff. Excuse me. I can watch a movie like Halloween, right? A slasher flick, Friday the 13th. And I could see Michael Myers take a teenager and stab a steak knife through his chest and staple him to a wall through his back, killing him in the process. That's horrifying. That's a horrifying thing that has just happened, and I just witnessed it. And it doesn't horrify me. It doesn't scare me. I don't know. It's because I know it's fake, or it's just entertaining. Rather than just horrifying. Even though it is legitimately, like, if I was in that situation and I was being stabbed against the wall, I would be I would be screaming. I'd be screaming my fucking lungs out. Because it's a horrifying thing. But there's a difference, I think, in movies between horrifying subject matter and a horror movie being horrifying. Because one thing I genuinely fucking hate about being a horror movie fan is the just fact that nowadays it's like, there's something weird happening in my house, and then fucking Vincent D'Onofrio shows up and he's like, you got a demon, it's called Bagul, and he fucking, and then there's a jump scare, and it's like, I don't, the Bye-Bye Man, like, I don't care. It's not scary to me. I can sit there and watch popcorn. Watching popcorn would be more interesting. It would be.
I don't think the Bye-Bye Man gets the title horror movie. I don't think
it's comedy. It's comedy. It's a comedy the same way that like fucking like the Hindenburg is a comedy. But
oh man,
with Hereditary, I'll just kind of go play by play on my emotions per big scene. So if you guys haven't seen Hereditary, or really any movie that we're gonna talk about, which is gonna be Hereditary, Us, that kind of shit. If you're not if you haven't seen those, I don't know about Us. That's more Rico's topic, but for me, and I also think for Rico,
if you haven't seen Hereditary, you
go see it.
It's just like it's been out for a while.
It's been out since 2018.
So we are in the right to talk about it.
Yeah.
We bought the rights. We can talk about it. Fuck you.
Yeah. We contacted Disney in his cryogenic head, and he let us watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So I'll just go play by play with scenes, and I'll say my opinion, and then I want to hear your opinion on the scenes and what your feeling was. So. Mm-hmm. As it started with the funeral scene of the grandma, I already kind of felt weird because she was like you would assume if you've ever been to a funeral, you just invite family members. Are people important to the other person who want to be there in that for the for the family and shit like that?
Surround yourself with people who help you through
right,
that
and
time.
people that were important to the deceased person's life. And when the mom goes up to say her speech, she doesn't know anybody that's there. She has her close family, close relatives. That's it. Everyone else, nobody fucking knows. That's so weird. That's so bizarre. And she points it out to them. She's like, I don't know anybody here, but here's my piece. Here's my piece. I gotta speak my piece. It's like, oh, that's so bizarre. And just kind of like, at first I was kind of like, I knew it was a weird movie. I always heard that it was like really horrifying and not jump scary.
It was.
Yeah, that it was. So I was like, okay, this is kind of strange. And then everything beyond just everything beyond 1 second into the movie to the end of the movie is so just bizarre and strange. So like even just the normal shit that they're trying to do, like the mom forcing Charlie to go to the party is so weird. It's so weird. Like obviously I don't remember the character's name. Alex Wolff's character just wants to go there to smoke weed and get pussy. That's all he wants to do.
I mean, the text message said,
"Yeah,
there's a party.
Bring your dick. Bring your dick." And then of course he lies about that. He lies to his mom saying, "No, it's just a school study. I'm not
gonna go rod some girls. I just want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, it's just hanging out with some friends
and maybe get my beak wet.
Just some people from school." And the mom's like, "Oh, Charlie can go," and he's like, "I don't know."
Charlie can go and watch you rod some girls. Yeah, it'll be great. I don't know
about that one. And then
it's good bonding time.
Right. She goes, I don't know about that one. And she's like, no, it'll be fine. And then asks Charlie if she wants to go. She says no, but then forces her to go anyway.
Technically, it's the mom's fault.
Supposedly.
It's the mom's fault.
So then they go to the party, and she has this horrible nut allergy. Also, how fucking funny is it? They like exactly state like 5 minutes before going to this party, she has a horrible nut allergy. She needs the EpiPen on her.
EpiPen.
They
and
never
don't bring the fucking
never
EpiPen.
Bring the EpiPen anywhere. I know it sounds like we hate this movie, but at the beginning is just a little. There's a lot of stuff to point out that's funny.
It's quirky at the beginning, but it levels out.
It kind of What it has to kind of go 100% at the beginning for it to go back down to 0 to ramp up. It's kind of strange like that.
Yeah.
So then they go to the party, and of course at this party where they're smoking weed, doing cocaine, they're making chocolate cake. They're making chocolate walnut cake, and it cuts to, they first show up and they cut right to the lady who's got way too many walnuts. She's got 1,000 walnuts. And they're like,
I can see like Charlie just walking up to be like, did this cake have any nut in it? She's like, fucking no, just stuff it down your esophagus.
Right, and Nat Wolff is like, meets the girl he wants to dick down, and is like, oh, I got weed, you wanna do weed? And they go in the back room.
You like weed?
Yeah. You like weed?
Good weed.
I got good weed. And then Charlie has to stay out in the living room because obviously the brother doesn't want his fucking 13-year-old sister watching him do weed and do girls.
Do weed.
Yes.
Do weed and smoke girls.
And he's like, look, they're making cake. Eat the cake. She eats the cake. And then it starts like this is the moment where it turned into it almost turned into watching a hokey horror movie to watch it, like almost watching like found footage of a horrible event. Because she starts agony breathing, like she but like she's trying to keep it together, and you're like, oh my god, that's really good acting, because the character, like she's so reserved that she can't just freak out because her throat's closing, even though anybody else in the movie, like anybody else in the world would be like, oh, fucking disgusting, fucking ah. But like she's like so reserved and so shy that she's at this party, she's freaking out. She just goes over to her brother who's smoking weed, and she's just standing in the doorway like, it's hard to breathe. And it's like...
And, like, kudos to the brother. He was such a good brother. Because in any other horror movie, you know that brother would have been like, fuck you, Charlie. Go fuck yourself. But like, he was like, Charlie? You alright, Charlie? And then fucking cares about his sister.
Right.
That's some good shit right there.
Right,
Brothers, take some lessons.
Yeah, so the brother freaks out and is like, oh, God, I gotta go take her to the hospital. Gets in the car, even though he's inebriated, drives. And this scene, just the driving up to the moment, is heart-pounding. You're, like, watching it, and he's, like, screaming. He's like, Charlie, you're gonna be fine. She's, like, sitting there, like, her legs are kicking because she can't fucking breathe. Yeah, she can't... she literally just cannot breathe. So, she rolls down the window. She rolls down the window to breathe, to get some air, which is, like, that's fine. She's panicking.
It's reasonable.
She's panicking. She's not fucking thinking straight. Sticks her head out the window to try and get some air. Maybe the air force will, like, throw air down her gullet. And
hey, it's a good idea.
Right. And then there's a dead deer in the road. And he has to swerve to the right of the road where her outside the car, her head hits a pole.
Fucking random light pole in the middle of nowhere.
Right. And and then, because it doesn't show her head coming off, it just shows her head.
It shows the thunk.
Yeah,
it shows the moment of impact for like a solid millisecond, and it's like
shows her head hitting the thing, and then the back of her neck hitting the door, and then it cuts, and then it hits him, and then I cannot tell you how much I loved this, because any other horror movie would show him go. Look back, go, Charlie, run out the door, and see her dead body and go, Charlie, no.
Charlie?
But no, a normal human being in a situation where they're petrified. Because imagine that situation. I wouldn't fucking move. I'd be like, what the...
Your sister just got fucking decapitated.
Right.
And you're going to run out and, like, grab her head and be like, are you okay, Charlie?
Never. He's sitting there holding, like, white knuckle onto the steering wheel. And he's just... petrified.
He fucking drives away.
Doesn't even look behind himself. Doesn't even look. He just is petrified.
I liked how he like went to look in the rearview mirror and like for like a second he goes to look and then just looks back down. It's like
because
tasty.
Because he's just so scared, and I would be too.
Yeah.
I mean, and so he just goes into this terrified state of, I don't know what else to do. Just do anything else. So he just drives away. Now. Drives over to his house at like 20 miles an hour. The entire way. Gets to his house. Gets out the car door. Doesn't even look at where Charlie was in the car. Just doesn't even look. Autopilot mode. Walks into his house. Lays down. Goes to bed. And while he's walking past his parents' room, you can hear the mom say, oh, they're home.
Thank God.
And then the next scene where you just see like...
ironic line in the movie.
I know, right? So then he's laying down in bed. He cannot sleep. He's just staring for hours until it's daytime. And then he can hear his mom getting ready to leave. And this moment made me tense every muscle. Hearing the mom scream at seeing her daughter's fucking decapitated body, and then it cutting to her ant-infested head.
Oof.
Ugh.
We forgot the part where at the beginning of the movie, mom is in like her study. She's working on her like project and whatnot, and she looks away. She goes to her mom's room and like is looking through her stuff, and then puts it back, goes over to the door, and like turns around, and that's the first moment where I was like, "Fuck." She turns around and her mom was just standing in the corner smiling at her, and I was like, "Fucking no." Yeah. That shit is not okay.
Right. So there so off the bat, there's some. You don't, but like that's not even it. It doesn't even explain that as a ghost. It explains that almost as like you're meant to kind of think of it as just her going like processing with the death.
Yeah.
Because she even looks up later, like on the laptop for like a split second. You can see her looking up, seeing people, like seeing deceased loved ones.
Well, I don't remember that.
I remember it. She was looking it up after that because she was confused about it. But so then that situation happens. So then the mom has to the family has to deal with losing her lady's mom, and then her daughter in the span of a fucking week.
Whew.
So then just the scene of the dad and her on the floor, and she's screaming, crying.
I want to die. Oh.
Should have been me. Like, that's all shit that you know is real. Like, that has happened before. So, like, you just feel that. And then, after that, because I think the movie had to get that big gut punch out the way for it to ramp up to the ending. So then
everything really kind of made it seem like it was like Charlie was the main character in the movie. Like, they made it seem like that.
Right, and she was on
and then they fucking killed her.
Right, and I didn't expect this at all because, of course, I knew nothing about Hereditary going into it. So all I knew was, like, the posters and stuff, which Charlie's face was on everything. I thought she was going to be around the whole movie. And then, boom, she's dead. It's like, whoa! I didn't expect that. So then, she's gone the rest of the movie, at least physically. So then it goes basically through this family's process and dealing with this fucking tragedy. Which is great. I love that. I love the kind of macabre this family is fucking reeling, right? And they're just processing how to deal with it. I also want to just say, real quick, if we're going to talk about the dad at all, I find it so funny he's the only normal fucking dude. I find it so funny. He's the only normal guy.
The dad was such a dick.
Yeah, but like in that situation,
he was just like, your mom died. Get over it. It's like, Jesus.
I mean, in any other situation, like, we'll just go to the dinner scene. Because that dinner scene was another
that was
real.
Tense.
That was real.
That was
just the
tense.
son and the mom just stabbing each other back and forth with, like, insults and, like, jabbing, like just pouring salt on every open wound.
Oh yeah. At the beginning, it seemed like the son. I think his name was Alex, isn't it?
Well, that's the actor's name, Alex Wolff.
Is it? I don't know.
You may have,
but it seemed like he was being sincere at the beginning. He's like, "You all right, Mom?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, they're gonna make up." And then the mom was like, "What?" And he was like, "Is there something you want to say?" And I was like, "Shit, dude."
I could tell because I was like,
chill.
Because they were so affected by the loss that even like the immediate thing I was thinking about is, what are the parents gonna say to this kid?
Yeah,
because
they didn't say anything to him after it. They're like, "Hey, you fucking clonked your sister in the face."
Right.
But we still love you. It's just like, I don't know any human being that would have been okay with that.
Like, I would be like, in that situation, I could just feel like someone would be like, I was surprised like the mom didn't run into the room of the kid and be like, what did you do?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck did you do? Screaming, crying. Yeah. Like, that would have been a good scene too, but so at this dinner table, it finally all comes out, and like the mom is fucking screaming at this kid. Because she's just venting about having to lose her mom and daughter at the all in that fucking moment. So she's screaming at her son, and the dad is getting mad at her. She's like, he's like, stop. And the kid's sitting there, and you could see him crying, but you know he's just angry because he's wanted to say something. And he's like, how about you, Mom? Why'd you let her go? It's like, ah! Ah!
Ooh. Valid point, if I do say. That mom is a cunt.
Yeah. It's just, that whole movie, that whole situation is crazy. Anyway, so it does, I will admit, slump a little bit. It slumps a little bit because it has to tear the wall down of the beginning to kind of relay the bricks to make the wall for the end. So, the whole Joan thing is a little, like, it feels like a different movie. Like, you know, it does. It feels like Joan is a little bit of like the Vincent D'Onofrio Bagul. Like, let me explain to you exactly what this horror movie monster is. But like, it's so perfect how it, by the end, reveals that it wasn't what it was. So this whole movie, Joan, she meets this character Joan, and they start talking, and Joan puts her onto this thing of, oh, you know, I can speak to my dead son and grandson, and then tells the main character how to do this to contact her daughter.
Yeah.
And so she does it at like because she can't so the mom can't like sleep. She's sitting there, can't sleep, and then like I think she hears the like she hears the noise or something, and she freaks out, and then she's like, all right, I need to do this.
Which, for the record, if any of you who are listening to this and go to my school, if I ever hear you click at me, I'm gonna bash your skull. Like, it's just gonna happen. You look at me in class and you just go, "You're dead." Like you're dead. That's the only answer. Don't do it.
So that she like in the middle of the night, it's like fucking 2 a.m. She wakes up her son, and wakes up her husband and brings him downstairs to the main table, and she's like, no, listen. She's like crazy.
Oh yeah.
She's acting fucking bizarre. But I like that's what I like about like the characters of like, obviously any normal human being would be like, no, fuck off. You're acting retarded and crazy. You're just acting bizarre. But that's the dad, because the dad can be a little bit adult in that situation, but the son, since he's not an adult, he just is like, yeah, my mom knows what she's doing. He's like, even though this is a little weird, you know what? I'll stand by my mom because I love my mom.
And I think it was like he doesn't want that relationship to be completely shit. Like he wants to be able to fix it, and he wants to like.
Well, yeah, he feels bad
in a
about
way
what happened.
He wants to gain forgiveness from her, so he's gonna be there and help her out.
Right. So they do this ritual and summon what they think is Charlie's ghost. And like that candle flame effect thing was cool, and just like when the mom gets possessed for a second, and the son just screaming like, "What is happening?" Like, that whole scene too is good.
Mom, stop! Oh,
yeah.
Every time
stop,
it's like,
stop! It's perfect. So then that happens, and then this is where the demon's in the house. The ghost is in the house.
Demon's in the house. Demon in the house.
Everybody, come on!
Corey just peeks his head out of the doorway. You call? It's Corey in the house.
You rang. So
damn.
This is where the movie legitimately gets fuzzy for me, because it was just so visceral, and I was just sitting there watching it the whole time. So throughout the whole movie, there's been these moments where a character will see this blue ring across the entire room, like it'll go across all the surfaces of the room, and that's the moment that you know that they are like some ghost shit's gonna happen. So like it happens.
Actually, I got a story about that blue ring.
Okay.
That I'll tell after you.
So it happens to Alex Wolff while he's at school, and he's sitting at his desk, and then he does this thing where his fucking arm goes up and his wrist is pointed down.
Well, before that, that's when he sees Janie or Joanne.
Right, he sees Joanne outside saying like,
yeah, and she's like, I expel you. He's
right,
like, fucking
she's
okay. I don't want to go to this school anymore.
She's saying, give up your body, which happens at the end of the movie, but
oof.
So he's like, and I don't know how they did this. I don't know if they used special effects, practical effects, or if it was just something the actor could do. But his fucking right eye was poking out, like bloodshot, and it looked like it didn't look like an effect. It looked like they were pushing his fucking eyeball out of his head, and then to snap out of it, like everyone in the class notices. Everyone's like, "What are you doing?" Because he's like, and then he fucking
like, bro,
slams his head down on the fucking
tweaking, bro?
desk, breaking his nose, and he just falls back. He's bleeding and he's screaming. Like that whole situation is just terrifying on a personal like anxiety level, because he's in front of everybody, and this happens, and he couldn't control
like
it.
The
so
girl
like
he likes is like a
what
couple seats in front of him and to the right, and she's like, "Are you okay?" He's like,
perfect.
She's like, I don't want to talk anymore.
You're right. So then the dad has to come and pick him up. They bring him home. He's asleep. And then the mom and dad have this altercation where she tried to throw excuse me. She tried to throw Charlie's journal in the fire because she saw that there was a lot of pictures of the Alex scribbled with his eye scribbled out. So she was like, and the demon was doing it.
before that, she tried throwing it like in the fire.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
The husband was asleep on the couch. Yeah.
She tried throwing it in the fire, and her arm caught on fire without being even close to the fire. So she came to the conclusion, oh, if I throw the journal in the fire, it throws me on fire. I burn as much as the journal does. But we need this journal gone to get rid of the demon. Because she used the journal as part of the ritual to keep the demon based in our world. Whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So the dad was getting to the point where he's like, I'm going to leave you. Like, you need help. Which is reasonable.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
So she's like, you know what? She's crying. She's like, I will throw this in the fire just to prove you. I will die just to prove you that this shit is real. So she throws it directly into the fire, and then out of nowhere, the ghost tricks her, and the husband fully catches on fire. And this is the moment where it goes from the mid part of the movie to the end, like 15 minutes that are terrifying, when you see the blue light go around, like just behind her. Right as it happens, she's like in horror at her husband burning alive. And right as that blue light happens, she's sitting there smiling. Because that's the moment she got possessed. And it was like, oh. So then it cuts to like hours later. It's just nighttime now. The kid wakes up from his, I presume, drug-induced sleep from getting his fucking nose bashed in.
Yeah.
He wakes up, and then he kind of looks up. It's a close shot on him, and you kind of see something to the back right of him, but you're not sure. And then it cuts
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
And then it didn't notice until the camera focused on it.
And then when it cuts out a little bit farther away, because he's kind of looking out, because he sees that Charlie's treehouse, there's a red light on. There's a light on in there. Yeah. So, and like the mom used to sleep in there when Charlie died, so he doesn't really think too much of it. And then after it cuts to the treehouse, it cuts back to him on a wider shot, and the mom is in the top right of his corner ceiling behind him.
I just want to say that I watched this, and I got done with it like right around 11:30, and I sat with my back up against my wall in my bed for like a solid hour, because I was not okay with that part.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make you scared of the top corner of your ceiling, it didn't do its job right. And damn it, it did its job right, because I was freaking out.
Right, and that's something I really love about this movie, too, is that it doesn't even call attention to it. You'd have to notice it for you to be scared of it.
Oh, yeah.
You would have to notice it. Because it doesn't, like, it's not, like, there, and then, or it doesn't show up when, like, Alex Wolff turns his head and sees it, and it's like, bleh! Like, it doesn't do any stupid jump scare shit. There's not a single jump scare in this movie.
She did run across the freaking wall.
That looked a little crazy. That was like, whoa.
What
but it was so perfectly, like, silent. And, like, it was just, like, it's one of those, it went from scary to, like, bizarre for a second. Cause I didn't know whether or not to laugh. I was like, I'm laughing at this. I don't know whether or not because it's funny or because I'm just scared.
Oh, I laughed.
I know, but I laughed.
I thought it was hilarious.
But, like, I was like, oh my God. Like, that whole time I was like, like, I sucked in all the air when I saw her in the corner. And then I saw her run right when he looks. And it was like, ooh, that was like, obviously, they had to do something, but, like, it was like, wow.
That run was a little iffy.
It did look a little strange.
It was iffy,
But it would look strange to anyone just because she was running on the wall sideways, like, using the dresser as, like, leverage and, like, pulling herself up and shit. It was like...
Yeah.
It just looked bizarre because I think it's something that we just, as humans, just don't think, like, just don't even process. So...
Yeah.
Then he goes to the living room calling for his mom and shit. Like, Mom, where are you guys here? Like, looks in her bedroom, everything. Also... I have to add, because it does play part. The mom, before the husband freaks out on her about the book and shit, they had noticed a smell in their attic. And a bunch of flies everywhere. So she goes up there to inspect and finds the headless body of her mother. But without her knowledge, earlier in the movie, the husband got a phone call about the grave being exhumed, being vandalized. The body was stolen. And he didn't let the mom know because she was so stressed. So then he goes up in the attic when he gets home, and then he sees the dead body. So he comes to the conclusion with the fact that his wife's going insane, and the body's here, and that she didn't know about the body being gone when he brought it up. Like, she was just like, wait, what? Like, you know about the body being gone? Like, yeah. You knew beforehand. He comes to the conclusion, oh, my wife dug the fucking body up. So he thought she dug the body up and brought it up there, which is perfectly normal. If I was in that situation, I would have thought the exact same thing. So then the husband, that's when he goes, I'm leaving you, and then she does the book shit. And then he catches on fire in the living room. So then Alex Wolff goes to the living room, and while he's walking in, the camera's like following, like going backwards, like looking at his face while he's walking. And in that shot, you see, also up in the corner of the living room, the mother,
fucking
again,
mom,
sitting up in the corner again. So then Alex finds his dead dad, his dead, burnt dad, and is like, oh my fucking god. He's having a horrifying moment.
Oh yeah.
And then, the guy.
That part was the funniest part of the whole movie.
I almost pissed my pants.
I thought it was hilarious.
I almost screamed in terror. That guy, if you saw that guy in your doorway, you would shoot yourself.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Because I was going to bed, and then I would like turn my flashlight, because I turned on my flashlight on my phone to go take a piss, and I walked back into my room, and I looked at the closet, and for like just a hot second, I pictured that guy there, and I was like, "Fucking shit!"
Yeah.
Like his penis is in my closet. Yeah, it's in my closet.
And then
straight up naked.
When it cuts to him,
smiling.
It cuts back to Alex, and then now it's the other side of the living room. She's on the corner again.
Did you recognize the guy?
Yeah. Charlie noticed him at the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlie noticed him at the funeral.
Jesus.
And so then it's like, oh god. This is a moment where after this moment, after he wakes up, after the mom gets possessed, this was a part of the movie that I legitimately stopped having current thought. I stopped thinking about what was going to happen next and just was like a witness. I just witnessed it. I just couldn't even process what the fuck would happen next because it was so bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
So then he turns around and finally sees his mom on the ceiling. And then both him and the mom start running after him. So he starts full sprinting upstairs, pulls down the thing, gets into the attic, is like so just like out of nowhere terrified.
The one problem I had with that,
the
front door was right there, dude. Right there.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing where it's like he didn't. Yeah, that's one thing I did notice. I was like, why didn't he just run out the door? But like, in that situation, thought goes out the fucking window.
Yeah.
So he goes up in the attic, closes the attic, locks it, and then he hears like boom, 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 boom.
She's banging her fucking head on the door.
Because it's closed. Oof. It's a closed ceiling hatch to the attic, and she is big, boom, boom, upside down, like fetal position on the fucking ceiling, boom, 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 with her head, and then it stops.
It's like it's an emo concert, and this mom is the leader of all the emos. She is headbanging to no end.
Exactly. So then he starts like, what the fuck, visceral, like, just what is happening? Goes over to the other side of the attic, sees like the outline of the fucking body, but it's not the body. The body's gone. Yeah. It's just the outline of the body. And he's like, oh god, there was a body there. Yeah, candles around it. Turns back around, sees a bunch of fucking naked people in the attic, just hanging out.
They're just like, howdy, partner.
Yeah, and they like wave to him, and he's like, what the fuck? And then sees his mom. His mom just somehow got in there. The mom can teleport now. Was in there with a piano wire and starts sawing her fucking head off.
Is that what that was?
It was piano wire.
Okay, I thought she had knives and she was just stabbing herself repeatedly. That's what I thought that was.
She has it like around it, so like it's around her neck.
But that makes sense.
And she's like going,
she was like,
like her, going like one arm goes like away from her body, one goes closer, one goes away, one goes closer. So it's like like in a sawing motion. And he just sees this Yeah, blood just going boo, 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 squirting everywhere. And she's floating. And he just doesn't know what to do, so he just runs out the attic window.
He goes, ah! And
just
breaks the window.
I would just do anything to get out of that situation.
Oh, yeah.
So I agree. So he dies. He falls out the window, dies. And then I love how it's silent, so silent after he falls and cracks his every bone, that you can just hear boom, boom, of her head falling off.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. So like he falls down, and then you still hear the zit 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 until it goes boom, boom. And then you can see the body floating above her, where the head's off now. And the body, and then the light comes over and hits on the back of the dead boy, and he wakes up, and then he looks over to the left and sees the body floating from the attic, just no sound, into Charlie's treehouse. And then you just hear the boy do it. The boy does the... So that's... Charlie has possessed him now. So then he makes his way over to the treehouse, walks up, sees a bunch of naked people bowing. Joan is there. And the grandma is headless, kneeling towards this effigy. Also, the mom that's headless now is now kneeling to an effigy where the head is Charlie's decaying head, wearing a fucking crown. And she goes into this whole... Joan goes into the whole spiel about now how the boy is possessed now by the king of hell. He now has his wanted body of a boy, of a man.
Baby boy body.
And now he may wreak havoc on Earth. And then it ends. So
the ending shot for that was the most unsettling for me. It was
how it's like looking above it like her models.
Yeah. It just zoomed out. It was completely black.
Yeah.
Except for the inside of the treehouse, which made a triangle. Right. I'm assuming it was like.
So
I don't know.
This is the interpolation of what the ending is.
Interpolation?
The interpolation. So there is this god of hell, who's a god of one of the 7 rings of hell or whatever, who is a trickster god, kind of like Loki. And so it was explained that the mom, when she was explaining her relationship with the grandma and her family, other than that, because her brother committed suicide because he said the mom was trying to put voices in his head. And so what it turns out, the grandma, is the leader of this fucking satanic cult. And it explains this whole thing to her, and then it explains like the grandma's this leader of this satanic cult. Joan was her right-hand woman. And when the mom was younger, the grandma tried putting tried to put this spirit, this devil king, into the main character's brother, trying to put voices in his head. So he kills himself. So then she's screwed, right? She's like, oh, well, I can't use my kid now. So she has to wait till the mom has her kids. So the whole time she's waiting for the mom to have her kids, she has her boy, but the mom distanced herself from her mom when she had her son. But she finally was like, okay. She let the mom back in when she had Charlie. And she named him Charlie. Dude. But the grandma always called them Charles. But Charlie was a girl. But she didn't know that when she was being born, because they came up with the name Charlie. She didn't know that it was a girl. So she puts the Satan in the pregnant mom, puts it in the child, but when it's born, it's a girl. So she's like, fuck it. I put the demon in a girl. But she didn't know that because it was named Charlie. So she put the demon...
Because at the beginning of the movie, Charlie goes, Grandma wanted me to be a boy.
Always wanted me to be a boy, right.
Oh, fuck.
So then... And after she does this, even though it's a girl, the grandma takes on almost trying to be like a mother, trying to breastfeed the baby, trying to, keep the baby close to her, because she knows it's housing this demon. So this entire time in the movie, Charlie wasn't Charlie. It was like this demon. It was the devil. So these little clicks, and like, did you notice, by the way, the symbolism with when Charlie beheads the pigeon?
Oh, and how she got beheaded, yeah.
And how she got beheaded, and how... Because the whole thing is... Because when the mom reads the book about the demon requires 3 sacrifices. And the way he likes the sacrifices being done is beheadings.
Huh, what a picky bitch.
I know, right? So... this whole shebang happens. So the whole process... So the grandma dies before she and like has dementia and stuff, before she can put take the demon out of Charlie and put it into the Alex Wolff. So and then when she dies, Joan takes over the cult. So then this whole thing happens to where Joan is now having to manipulate the mom after Charlie dies. Manipulate the mom into summoning Charlie, which will summon the devil, which will then be able to go into Alex's body to then complete their ritual to get the devil on Earth.
What the fuck, dude?
So, and also, so you remember in the beginning of the movie when the grandma had that necklace, and it turns out to be the cult symbol?
It's like on every single thing.
Right. I don't know if you noticed, because it was really quick, and I didn't notice at first until I looked into it. Did you notice that the deer carcass was carved with that symbol? And the pole where Charlie was beheaded had that symbol?
Was carved with that symbol?
Yeah.
So they
planned
tried
it.
to kill Charlie?
They planned it.
Oh, shit. That is
So it was like,
dark.
oh. Yeah, so it just is like, it's meant to kind of extend, like, this is how fucking crazy all this shit is. This movie
Jesus
afterwards
Christ.
left me with just this sense of like my mouth was open, like, what the fuck?
It was so.
I love it.
It was just so that it was
so just like you're left with this thing
so.
of like being punched in the face and liking it.
Like you couldn't even do anything. Like you were just like so.
That was that.
Kind of got raped today,
yeah.
And I'm not sure how to feel about it.
Yeah. That movie is so insane. It honestly feels like what it's like to be insane. So, if I were to give this a rating, I think I would give it I honestly think I'd give it a 10. I honestly do.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really good.
Because it does
It's
have
well thought
some
out.
moments where there are moments where it doesn't work, but I don't think that negates points. I don't think I should be like a 9.5 because everything else, even the stuff that doesn't work, is in service to the stuff that does. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't work because no matter what it's doing, it ends up working. So it's like so perfectly crafted. It's my favorite horror movie, without a doubt. It is an A24 film, or I think A24, A21, whatever.
Yeah, A24.
Yeah, so it is, more indie. It's more artsy kind of thing. But I think that's perfect for why it worked, because horror movies are so just mass-produced, fucking bye-bye man, don't say it, don't think it. Like, that it's refreshing to get something with a even if it does go cliche with the demon cult and it, does go full, like, Rosemary's Baby, kind of, it does it with its own spice, so it doesn't matter that it does go cliche a little bit, because it works. I could go for hours on this movie, so we're going to have to move on, but I could go for hours. Anyway, so, do you want me to go into my bit? Because we both went on. Okay. So.
Yeah, you go ahead and tell me.
To lighten up the mood a little bit, a couple weeks ago, I told Rico I have disowned him. And he was confused. But I told him I didn't want to say anything until it was on the podcast because I thought it'd be entertaining to talk about. So, a mutual friend of ours, I was talking to them. And they told me something that blew my fucking mind. And I don't think I can ever take Rico's movie opinion to heart anymore. So I was talking to this friend, and I don't know what we were talking about, but we were talking about Rico. And we're talking about the podcast and stuff like that. And we're talking about how it was a movie podcast, and he's like, man, it's kind of weird Rico does a movie podcast because he doesn't like this. And I was like, you're kidding me? So he told me Rico doesn't like John Wick.
Oh, I know exactly who you were talking to. Your opinion means absolutely nothing.
He told me John Wick, you don't like John Wick. And I was concerned by this because I was like, John Wick 1 and 2, and looks like 3, are some of the best action movies that have ever been made. And so I was kind of confused because I was like, why? Rico really likes superhero movies, action movies, and by, I guess you could call them that. And I was confused on why he doesn't like something that's considered the best action movie ever made. So, Rico, I guess you got the floor. Tell me why you don't like John Wick.
It's the stupidest movie concept I have ever heard of. It's literally...
Well, Assassin gets
It's literally just an excuse for another action movie. So, what? His wife dies. I get that. But that you're going to tell me that he now goes on a killing spree that is fueled because someone curb stomped his dog and took his car. Are you kidding me?
You don't find that comical, even?
I find it stupid. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life.
I find it funny. I don't even care if it's a dumb excuse to have action, but if the action is good...
It's a completely dumb excuse to have
Well, here's
action.
my opinion on action movies.
Here's what I said. I said that the plot was stupid. It was
I agree with you.
It was filmed well. It was shot well.
I agree with you.
But it was the stupidest
shot
plot
well,
of a movie I've ever seen.
choreography amazing, action done amazing, Keanu Reeves acting, even if the story was shitty, amazing. I mean, his choreography, everything was
is the most awkward actor I have ever watched.
I love it.
I don't know. It's also
okay.
One scene specifically reminded me of The Room.
Oh yeah.
With Tommy Wiseau, like that. I forget what it was. He was like, it was when he was at the Continental. I think he was like talking to the guy. It was just such a quick exchange that didn't stop,
right?
And it was just like, you should have had like a pause or something. But he was like, I literally don't remember. And I watched it right after I watched Hereditary. I watched it again because I was like, all right, maybe I'll just give it a shot. So I watched it again. And I was like, no, it's still a stupid idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it was just miscommunication on the other friend's part because I do agree. The story, for me, I think the story's stupid, but I don't think the story matters for me to enjoy the movie. I think I can...
It does for me because it has to go somewhere. Like, it has to have reasoning, and that reasoning was pretty stupid.
For me, it's like the same thing of watching, like, jousting. Like, I don't need to sit here and know the backstory of Sir Thumb Up Butt the Second to know that it was funny as shit to watch him fall off his horse. Or I have the same feeling about John Wick that I do Deadpool. At least one. Is that the story, I don't give a shit. I don't care about Francis. I don't care about Ajax. I don't care about fucking Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, even though I have, like, the biggest crush on her. I don't care. I care about getting shot up the ass. I care, like, the whole part about him, like, the going back to when he was Wade Wilson with his girlfriend and, like, dealing with cancer. I don't give a single shit. I give a shit about him doing backflips. The ex gonna give it to you. Like, I want to watch that. I want to watch that action movie. That's fun. I love the fucking second movie. I love the beginning of the second movie where he's, like, just doing assassin shit. Like, that's awesome. I love it. But I don't give a single goddamn about fucking Tubber McFucking Juggernaut rip in half. I don't care. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. It was just a miscommunication. I do agree, John Wick's story, it doesn't matter to me, or it's not good to me. It doesn't matter for me to enjoy it. If it matters to you to enjoy it, I understand.
Now the person that you talked to about this, I know who it is, and I said something yesterday in class, because I think we were talking about movies that were coming out, and someone said, "Oh, John Wick Chapter 3 is coming out," and I was like, and I said that I hated those, that they were just so dumb in concept to me, and they were like, "Why?" And I had said the dog thing. I was like, because he starts killing people because they curb stomped his dog, and that's dumb to me. And the person you're talking to goes, "You're not in his situation. You don't know what he felt like." I was like, are you kidding me? One, it's a movie.
Right.
Two, it's a movie. Like, come on.
Yeah,
I don't need to know what he felt like to know that was a stupid concept. It was made me so mad.
All right. Yeah, I get what you're saying. So if you want to talk about Us, this is just Rico's topic. You have the floor.
This is just my opinion.
It's your opinion. I haven't seen Us.
It is not.
I cannot have a formal opinion.
It is not racially based. Let me get that out of the way right now. Because somebody said something yesterday, and I'm not going through that again.
Right.
Us was not that good of a movie. It wasn't even good. It was the laziest writing I've ever seen. It wasn't shot well. The character development was iffy. It was just... So everything you need in a horror movie, or even a thriller movie, which this movie is labeled with, it was lacking entirely. So it starts off... I'm going to go into full depth about this.
Okay.
So, like, that's how this is going to go. If you haven't seen it, oh well. So, the beginning of the movie is... The girl's at the fair, and she's like doing stuff with her parents, and her mom and dad clearly don't get along for some odd reason. I don't know why. It's never really explained. And so she ends up wandering off, and she finds herself in a hall of mirrors. And if you don't, for some odd reason, know what a Hall of Mirrors is, go to a carnival, get some culture. It's pretty much just a house with mirrors lining the walls. And you're supposed to make your way through, and it's a maze.
So it's symbolism for clone shit.
Yeah. And it's so ironic that that's what it is, because everything that happens after that is so stupid. So I'll get to that. Unfortunately.
So what you're saying is like basically the only clever symbolism was the Hall of Mirrors thing, and that's it.
Let me explain.
Okay.
Because it's just a mess.
One thing I do want to add though, just logistics wise, is I do only have 20 minutes left on my recording disk space, so.
Oh wow.
Not to rush.
Okay. Alright. Well, so everyone already knows that it's pretty much doppelgangers is the entire basis of the movie. That they find their doppelgangers, and they, for some odd reason, want to kill them. And it makes sense why they want to kill them, but it's stupid. It's stupid. So, to pretty much sum up the movie, the government made a way to clone people, and the clones are pretty much the doppelgangers are the clones that the government made, and they live under the House of Mirrors, which is so stupid.
That's...
So, then, if this movie couldn't get any worse... Also, the ending I got in the first 20 minutes of the movie. It was so obvious. So the end whole fight scene with the moms, I guess, are that... So they go down to where the doppelgangers lived, and they fight it out with the scissors and whatnot. The scissors that they hold are supposed to represent breaking the link between the doppelganger and the original. And the one thing that the doppelganger said was a big issue was that the government could clone the bodies, but they couldn't clone the soul. Stupid. So they fight it out, and then the mom makes it out. Thank God. And she makes it back to the surface and whatnot, and she finds her son. They get in an ambulance and start driving away. And this is the part where I just lost all respect for this movie. All right. The mom is driving the ambulance, and she's getting these flashbacks to the carnival and the pier that she was on, because they took a family vacation to the exact same spot where she has PTSD about this whole thing. And she's getting these flashbacks, and she's remembering going to the House of Mirrors and finding the little girl that looked... Oh, that voice crack was bad. We're going to ignore that.
No problem, bud.
She remembers finding the little girl that looked just like her in the mirror. And then it shows what happened to the rest of that. And the little girl choked the life out of her doppelganger, dragged her by the foot down these escalator stairs into a room, tied her to a bed, took her clothes off, put them on herself, and the mom that you see through the whole movie with the normal family is the doppelganger.
Right.
And only the son knows, because the real mom told the son. And it doesn't make any sense at all. The doppelgangers took over because they wanted their time in the sun, but they were led by... So, I don't even know. I don't know. It was just so stupid.
That's it. That is bizarre.
Two things I will give this movie credit for is that, one, you know the whole stereotype of, like, black people usually die in the movie first?
Right.
Yeah, they took the white family and just butchered them right off the bat. And it was really funny.
Nice.
The second thing is their use of NWA in this movie.
Oh, cool.
I respect that.
Yeah.
So they have the white family is, like, super wealthy, and they have this huge house, and they have this off-brand, like, Echo Dot or, like, Alexa, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You talk to it, and it's just like, oh, play this. And it plays it. Well, so there's doppelgangers at everybody. And so this family gets attacked by their doppelgangers. And the wife is, like, crawling towards her doppelganger. And she calls out to this Alexa thing and is like, call the police. And it goes, did you say fuck the police? And it just starts playing NWA. Awesome. While this chick gets stabbed, and it is the funniest thing I've
really
ever
good.
seen.
I like that a lot. That's awesome.
That was the only part of this movie that made me laugh really hard.
That's awesome. That's really good. But, I like that.
Yeah. But, like, other than that, this movie was nothing special. It really wasn't.
Right. Like, you could tell it was clone shit just by the fucking...
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Like, I know it's clone shit, and I haven't heard a single thing about this movie other than seeing the poster and hearing it's clone shit. Like, you can tell it's clone shit because it's, like, the normal-ass mask, like, coming off the terrified face. It's, like, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It just...
And this was... Hold on. I completely... I'm going to sound stupid. Was this made by Jordan Peele?
Yeah, it was directed by Jordan Peele.
Wow. Because I haven't even seen. I mean, I know what happens, and I know people say it's good. I haven't even seen.
Get Out.
Fucking Get Out, yeah.
Yeah, I was told to watch that, and like I'm gonna watch it because this was his second time directing something, and I don't want to base all of my opinion on his second time. You know,
Right.
like
That's
maybe
true.
his first time was his good. He did good in the first try, and that would have been Get Out. So I plan on watching that. Plan on getting an opinion with that, and this movie, Like I give it like a 2 out of 10. And those 2 points are for the 2 points that made me laugh pretty hard.
You're definitely more of a story-centric kind of person when it comes to movies, and if the story is dumb, or if the story doesn't make sense in one area, you are definitely not for it.
Yeah, I'm checked out. Checked out.
Because you're like, why? Well, like, there's no brain stimulation, so why should I care?
Yeah, it's like you gotta have good character development to make the audience care about the characters, so that they become invested in your movie.
Right.
And this movie didn't have that. It tried with the mom. It tried to have good character development, but it really just didn't have it.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
Strange. It's kind of
yeah.
Definitely.
That was
probably won't go see it though.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend paying money to see it. Like
right.
I watched it through an unnamed source that is 100% legal. That's just how it goes.
But yeah, I think that'll be it. I had some other topics, but I only got 7 minutes left of space on my recording software. For some reason, I can't figure out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out, though.
Yeah, we'll get that figured out. But, all right. This was fun. It was nice doing this again.
Nice doing business with you.
Nice doing beeswax with you.
The business. It was nice doing the business with you.
I think next time we do this, we may have a guest. We will try and figure out which guest. I know we do have a few lined up. So we'll get that schedule set up and
yes.
Get the beeswax ongoing.
Yeah. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a shower and drink a coffee at the same time.
I do want a coffee.
It sounds good, right?
Yeah, it does.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, see ya.